All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Plutus PBL. We do a live coding session every Wednesday and Thursday, but I should say almost Wednesday and Thursday. I personally have to take a week off from live coding next week because there's a governance workshop running. But if anybody wants to organize informally, please just connect in the chat or hit me up on Discord. This Zoom link right here will still work even if I'm not here. So feel free to use the time. I just wanted to let you know before I forgot that I can't make it next week. But we do have this week, and we do have most Thursdays and Fridays. If I zoom out, you can see there's kind of this growing record. Wow, 8 weeks that we've been, 7 weeks, because that's the template up there, that we've been following this process. And what do we do at live coding? It's kind of like an open spaces where everybody can kind of share some questions they've encountered as they're working through the self-paced Plutus PBL course. And then we select a few of them to create some breakout rooms. We vote on which breakout room to keep right here in the main room. And then we take it away and we see what happens. And different people have been stepping up to facilitate the meetings and kind of walk us through what they're working on. So welcome, everybody. How's it going?
Hey. It's summertime here in the US. We've just had the Memorial Day weekend, and it's good. I feel the summer solstice approach. Yeah, it's nice.
Amen to that. Yeah, we actually Gimbal Labs Playground follows a school year calendar, and we had our last official playground meeting of the year yesterday. But don't worry, there's going to be summer carnival at the same time for the next few weeks. So more on that to come after the governance workshops. Thanks for this question right here. Gimbal Pool is the ticker GMBL, and we are right around the amount of delegation where we're uncertain to get a block every epic. So a little bit more delegation would help to get over that line. That would feel really good.
Yeah, for sure. I want to do it and sort of help out. Is it, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, do we still get a reward every, if we don't make a block, we don't get a reward, right?
That's exactly right. No, I mean, to delegate to Gimbal right now is to take a slight risk, and I'll show you recent. Let me jump over to Pool and just show you what ethics. Yeah, no, it's a really sensitive thing, but got to be honest about it. So I can look on Pool Tool at at Gimbal Pool right here. And I can look at recent epics, you see. So since we lost the Cardano Foundation delegation 6 or 8 epics ago, we actually had a good string of great luck right here. Minting 3 and 4 blocks despite the odds. And then even 2 is a little bit above what we would expect. But
right.
We did miss a block last epic, right? So evening out over the course of these, it's probably about average, but yeah, it's not sweet to get just 1 or 0. And I don't blame anybody for not delegating with us right now. But we'll see what we can do to get that up into a healthier range.
Holy crap!
Hey, Numan.
Hey,
I always think that Gimbal delegation doesn't have anything to do with rewards. It has to do with support, and that's why I've been doing that since first day. I think it's key for us to contribute in that direction. Incentives are not only money. Just to make a point on that, because this is kind of the moment to say it.
For sure.
This will come. This will come for sure. So just jump into it.
Yep. So do my few thousand ADA, does it make a difference? Does like or would that make a
And
difference?
that's, that's the other honest truth at this moment, oh gosh,
I
like,
mean, we went from 16 million to
yeah,
1.
we were lucky to have Cardano Foundation delegation for, you can see, a while. And that was really nice. That was a really nice stretch.
Yeah.
And you can see, right, like when we have that amount of delegation, the difference to the Gimbal Labs bottom line is maybe 200 ADA every epic, which you multiply that by 6 epics in a month, 1,200 ADA per month is really,
That's
really helpful.
significant.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So yeah, we currently don't have that. And so yeah, it's like a tenuous, if we had 2 million, I would say, oh yes, please delegate to us, right? Because we would be pretty confident that we'd be minting blocks every epic, and
Right.
it'd be better. I think once a pool has more in the, let's say, at least 5 million delegation range, the return on stake levels out a bit. You can see even with the 16 million delegation, it's still a little bit inconsistent if you look up and down the line, but
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Eris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, sorry.
something maybe, maybe it's not necessarily but yeah, it's something I've been thinking about. I want to figure out how to support,
Thanks for even thinking about it. No,
Oh yeah.
I
No,
appreciate
no.
it. And no harm, no foul. Like there are good reasons not to delegate to Gimbal right now. But I hope that someday we have a nice saturated pool.
Yeah, hey
Interesting.
everyone,
Yeah.
how's it going?
Hey man.
Hey, I'm wondering that you brought this up, what the reasoning is for withdrawing, because it's such a good cause in my opinion to delegate to Gimbal Labs. And it could be a good idea to just like approach them or talk to them, because I've seen other people do that and connecting with them and explaining to them that them taking out that amount has affected the situation. That was one thought. And then another thought is I wish we had all bought in Snake a little while ago, and then we could have easily delegated that to the pool, and Gimbal Labs would be good to go. Yeah, that's it for now.
Oh, thanks, man. Now we were actually really lucky to have the CF delegation for 3 consecutive delegation periods. And I think it was about, there's a limited number of slots, right? And to have it even for 3 consecutive periods was a really, really big helpful deal. So I hear you. And I'm happy that people who haven't gotten it yet are advocating for themselves. All right.
Okay. Cool.
So
All right.
that's the stake pool. Changing lucky number. That sounds like a really great thing for looking at. And this is an unanswerable question, but does anyone want to take a stab at it?
Who's gone through the React part of the course, and like I'm hopeful to get to it, but I keep getting stymied. But yeah.
So I have a little story that is mostly true from a technical perspective, but it's really the reason why I love React. So I learned Java development when I was in college at the turn of the century. It's kind of fun to say. And so Java is kind of a leader in this paradigm called object-oriented programming. And you can look up alternatives to that, but just to keep this story short, right? Object-oriented programming. What this allows us to do is break our code into reusable components. And I always loved that, about thinking about how do you build a giant project one little piece at a time, and then compose all those different parts. And there was a time, right, where even in the very early days of web development, where all you had was HTML, And so you would, you could write a web page and you could style it and build this stuff. But the ability to kind of have object-oriented reusability when building a web project, there was a time when that concept was impossible. And what React did, and the reason it blew me away when I first saw it, was like, oh, okay, this takes an object-oriented paradigm and allows me to build a user interface with it, right? And these days, it's easy to forget that this ever wasn't the case, right? Oh, I need a button component. I'm going to build a button. I'm going to reuse it over and over again, right? And even things like having the chakra libraries that we use for UI. Part of why that's easy to install and use is that we have, React allows them to create components that we just reuse again and again. So I'm oversimplifying only a little bit here, but from a high level perspective, if you understand this design principle of reusability that React enables, it can start to help you build a mental model around it. And we can look at more and more examples. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's the special sauce. That's why I come here. I've been talking you up. It's just like, if you need the high level glue for all these little, because you can take an entire React course and not really understand there's little, this is the great, I love the high levelness of it. So thank you for that. Yeah. And that makes it a lot less scary, because it's just reusable components.
Build, thank you, man. Yeah, build it once, see if you can get it to work. And once you do, everybody else can use it too.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, what would you add?
Well, I was going to say, back in the day, we used to call them subroutines. You'd break your code down into blocks that you were going to reuse again and again and again, and you'd write a routine and you'd call it a subroutine. It's just the modern version of that, I think.
Right. Yeah. OOP didn't come from nowhere, right? But it was kind of a culmination of people. It took decades, really, of computer development for the concept of OOP to really crystallize, right? And now to be something that we can push back against with crazy things like Haskell that are not object oriented but functional. Anyway, but that's a conversation for another time. I see. So the lucky number and related error, I think, could be a great topic for a breakout room. So I'm just going to move it down here. At a high level, what a reference UTXO is this was enabled by, sorry, what's the name of the new era that went live in late 2022? The Babbage era, but that was, the Vassal hard fork, right? If you remember when the Vassal hard fork happened near the end of 2022, one of the things that was added on chain is this concept of reference UTXOs. And so I'd be happy to just do a little bit more of a deep dive into what that is. We could trace this concept from the SIP all the way to what it's used for. But what it does is it allows us to take a Plutus script and put it on chain once so that anybody anywhere can reuse it anytime. And that was revolutionary at the end of 2022. Before that, we had to pass around the CBOR file, right? Or the .plutus file to anybody who wanted to use our contracts. And it's really, really convenient to not have to do that anymore. So that's the high level, but this is something that we could absolutely spend time on, exploring reference UTXOs. Any other topics that would sound useful to talk about today?
I'm curious to know, like, where everybody else is on the course. I know that Juan was working on, or if anyone's, I have to oh man, my brain. I have to get the node up to version 8. So uninstalling and reinstalling Node. I tried that last week and it was kind of tough. I'm curious to know where everybody else is, like in the course, and get that feeling of like all of us going together. If you're willing to share like where you are.
This is one and the one. Now we have to one, so we have to differentiate. Anyway, yes, my story goes that I went back to the beginning and I'm in 102.1 with great success and they're understanding much better. I have no rush. I know you guys are pushing really hard to build up these 12 people, but I'm taking my time. I'm in 102.2, building background, CLI and all that thing, which is great.
I think I was just talking about that with Harsha. I really think that I might do that. Maybe, take the opportunity to when I'm reinstalling Node, I would love to go back and do module 100 again, because I kind of did it, I think I could get some good insight if I go back.
Yeah, that would be awesome to work together on that, because after going through the course with a certain difficulty, then when you go back and start reviewing with your administrative assistant, ChatGPT, that helps a lot. So yes, yes, we not always have James and everybody available. So ChatGPT works really well at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my God. If I had ChatGPT last year, oh my goodness.
So let's do it.
Cool. Thanks, Juan. Anyone else? Like where is everybody? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just curious. So
Hey,
you
Newman.
don't have to
Hey everyone. Hey, I wanted to share also that last night I was finally able to install Nick's. Actually, Nick's, he helped me for like a few hours to go through everything. It's really kind of him. I really appreciate that. And we were able to change some files, and because I'm running a MacBook with the M1 processor, and it's been giving me a lot of problems, but we're finally able to do it, and so I can finally start working with Cardano CLI. So I'm super excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Erez, congrats on that. Sebastian, how about you?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah. Hey, Sebastian, you're a little low, but
Okay, let me try to switch microphone.
no, we're good. You're good. You're good.
Right. Anyway, the only thing I wanted to say is that have you guys seen the Jambala presentation Ian did yesterday? It is a suite that completely installs automatically all of the tools for Cardano development. It uses from 0 to Nix instead of the traditional installer, and it allows you to update the node just by changing one parameter. So I was wondering if anyone had saw that, if they're interested in trying it.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw it. It was a great lecture. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out.
It could be a nice alternative to manually install all of the things one by one.
That's cool. I saw the link to it, but I wasn't able to view it.
I put the recording in the chat.
Ah, cool. Nice.
I'm thinking about a connection between what Juan was saying about going back through the content and recognizing how much you've learned, but also kind of the future and having tools like Jambala coming online. 6 months from now, new people are going to show up to work their way through this course. And anybody here who wants to contribute in this way is going to be able to be a mentor for those people. But you're also going to be like a grizzled veteran who can talk about the days before we had Jambalaya like integrated with the course. So that's going to be really exciting. So I hope everybody's getting ready for it. Ian and I have a chance to connect next week. He'll be at the governance workshop we're running, and we're really excited to talk about ways to collaborate. And just like we were able to integrate Demeter into this course to make things incrementally easier, to do the same with Jambala. So hopefully some great news to come. Sorry it wasn't as easy for this cohort, but y'all got the real old school experience, you know, and stories to tell. So thanks for that. That's right. Earning the moniker.
That's right. That's right.
Anybody else want to share out about where you're at?
My beard's white. It's not grey.
Yeah, that's a misnomer. It's a
There's
misnomer.
like a Gandalf reference here, isn't there? There was a special transition. Faizan, hey.
Hey everyone. Hey.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, hey, you're coming through a little bit quiet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah. So I'm on module 204, the faucet project. Yeah. Having some issues with it and just trying again and again to resolve that issue.
You know, there's some connections we might find if we look at the lucky number stuff, if this is kind of a warm up for the faucet project, because they're both basic interactions with smart contracts. And when you're doing all that stuff for the first time, there's a dozen different things that might go wrong. So we could have a good time looking at this lucky number error, and then maybe taking our first look at the faucet project together, if that was a direction people wanted to go. And actually, if we did that along the way, there would be some mention of reference UTXOs. How would people feel about that as a process? Start with lucky number exploration. If time, look at 204 faucet. And along the way, we would be paying a little attention to this. As an emergent agenda, any objections to that one?
No,
I love
sounds
it.
Good.
I'm all set up with the lucky number to start.
Let's do this. Okay, is it okay? We're kind of like starting to sometimes not vote if a clear agenda just comes together. That approach is totally fine with me. So if we skip the vote today and jump in, speak now.
Works for me.
Let's do it. All right, I'm going to stop sharing to hand it off to Newman. Thanks for being set up and ready.
Yep.
Newman, you
Yeah.
wanted to know where other people are in the course. I've just literally just gone into 103.
Perfect.
103.
You'll make your first commitment.
I will be doing that shortly. Well, maybe
Very
not
exciting.
this afternoon, but
And do you, yeah. And if you're familiar with Git, or if you've done some Git sort of stuff before, it's pretty straightforward. I was able to get through without too much help, I think.
yeah. Well, I managed to do the commitment on the on 102, so I'm sure I'll be fine. Or the merge.
Oh, nice. Yep. Okay, so here's where I'm at. Let's bring up, this is the step page. It's a mastery assignment, so there's no video walkthrough. This one, actually, I got an error first when I had these transposed. I thought that I got the 100 and 200 confused, so I put them down in my notes. Like the contract wallet is, or what is this called? The reference Is this the reference token thing?
This is, yeah, and actually, this part is a tiny bit confusing because we're actually using, at the moment, the word reference in two different contexts. This UTXO holds the reference token that is suggested in SIP68. And we must distinguish that from this concept of a reference UTXO that I was talking about earlier that came online at the Vassal hard fork and allows us to put Plutus scripts on chain.
Okay.
So I actually have documentation where I'm using both of those words accurately when I talk about a contributor reference UTXO. If anybody can follow that
Okay.
one.
Oh God. Yeah.
So
this,
we're gonna disambiguate.
yeah, this,
Yeah.
and sorry to cut you off, but this this definitely was stymied me, and I had to kind of guess. Let's take a little break on that because it talks about it. Yeah. Basically, two assets, one referencing the other, and so down here, here's a reference datum again. But in the steps, it says, and now add your reference. And I'm like, oh, I guess it was just this. Which contributor reference app is yours? There are a few ways. And then I was just like, what the shit? And that's when I discovered this guy, because that's where the link goes. So here's the, and anyway, I played around with this, and my first one, I got him confused. So, but I was able to get around that error, with just force. But this one has stymied me, so I'll come back to that. Well, I'll just walk down through the thing. So here's my contract address. No, there's the contract address. Here's the wallet. Highlight stuff. They're all the same past this. It's just this part is the 100 and this part is the 222. Here's the policy ID that you do the dot and then you add. And I don't know why I probably could just build them all out. But anyway, and now here are the variables. There's my sender address, and we checked. Harsha will confirm that we checked through all these, and these were at least, I guess I didn't check this one, but this has been working all the time. This contract address, we checked. I can run through these, but these are all checked. So there's our, just going down through, and in the interest of time, well, one thing is you definitely have to run this in the transactions folder. So that was an error that I came across and figured out. And now I'm going to run this. And so we get this error. New datum is not valid. And so we're like, okay, the datum has stuff to do with these datum JSONs that are referenced. So I made sure that I was like, oh, is it case sensitive? So I checked this and I checked this. And then we checked these that they're correct and match up with what's on the, what's here in the instruction. And so I think that's sort of where we ran out. I could show you what ChatGPT. I did ask, like, what is this error? Actually, that might be fun. Hold on, let's go to ChatGPT. So yeah, new datum says the error message indicates a failure during the execution of a Plutus script within a transaction. Specifically, it mentions the Plutus script evaluation failed due to an invalid new datum value, which I mean is pretty straightforward, but I could type all this in. You know, yeah, the error message suggests that the new datum value provided in the transaction, which is our scripts, yeah, doesn't match or is something that's not expected.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As I've talked it up enough.
But I have a question for everybody. The expected validation criteria, where might we find that?
Expected validation criteria. Hold on.
Where is it?
Redeemer.
It's in the contract.
Exactly, right? And to ask the exact same question a different way, you see at the bottom of your screen, it says script debugging logs, new datum is not valid. Where is that error message coming from? Same answer, right? It's coming from the Plutus contract that we're running right here.
And just so that yeah, sorry to interrupt, but like, so help me, walk me through on your beautiful way you do high level sort of what we're doing here, like where, because this is not the contract. That's what we're sending up. A Deemer simply is going on. If you could give that sort of high level thing,
right,
that would be great.
Exactly. No, and we're ready to really start taking a look at some Plutus code right now. Okay, so with this in mind, let's go find that error message. And Newman, I'm dropping into the chat here just the GitLab link to the validation code that we're relying on. Let's read this code together. And what I want to find in this code first is precisely the error message we were just seeing on screen. So let's scroll down past where you see this is the contributor reference validator starting on line 33. Okay. And then if we scroll down more, you're going to see a series of in-case actions starting on line 56.
There it is, 69.
Yeah. Line 69. And by the way, it also shows up a little farther down on line 91.
Yep, 91.
So in other words, there's two things that we can try to do with this contract. One of them is named on line 71. We can update a number. And the other thing is named on line 60. We can update the completed modules, right? Or update the list.
Oh, we've gone through this before. Yeah.
We're gonna keep, right? Every time we see it, we notice a couple of new things here. Okay. So first of all, which one are you doing?
Updating, not this one. I'm updating the number.
Right. Okay. So the logic that matters most to us right now is the block that goes from 71 to 91 or whatever, right? But you can see that some of the same logic applies in the prior example. Okay. Now, this word redeemer, which maybe people have seen at this point, but how many people feel like they have a good mental model of what a redeemer is yet? I can't see everybody's. I really wish, you see, this is where I wish we were all in the same room so I could look at all your faces.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like I recognize that redeemer is a concept that we're all starting to learn together right now. Okay. Redeemers can be used for a few different things. But one of the most common use cases for a redeemer is you can think of it as a statement of intention. Okay. Now compare this, say I operate a brick and mortar little grocery store on Main Street, right? The everyday shopper has a different intention than the delivery person who's dropping off vegetables, and has a different intention than the robber who's going to try to steal some of my funds. Okay, these are all different intentions that somebody could show up with. And there's different ways we all express our intentions in the real world. Okay. With a Plutus contract, the way you specify your intention is by stating it via the Redeemer. Why are you trying to unlock funds from this contract? Well, because I want to update the number. Why are you unlocking funds from this contract? Because I would like to update the completed modules. And you'll notice down below, there's one more thing that we could do below update number. If you scroll past the last trace if falses, there's this one. The other thing we can do is we can remove a contributor token, right? So if it ever comes time to just clean up, if we know there's a bunch of stale contributor tokens that are definitely not in use, that option is here for those to be removed. Okay. We'll talk about it if we ever want to use it. So we state our intent. But look closely at lines 93, 71, and whatever the first one was with update completed modules. And you should notice one slight difference with the one on line 71. What do you see there?
It's in parentheses?
It is in parentheses.
Oh, it takes a
parameter.
Parameter, yeah.
Okay. This is called a parameterized redeemer. Sometimes redeemers are parameterized, sometimes they're not. So on line 60, update completed modules is just a redeemer where we're saying the word we want to do. I want to update. Line 71, we're saying I want to update the number and I want to update it to this. So notice what also has to be equal to num on line 74.
Right.
Okay. So what this is basically saying is whatever your statement of intent on line 71, I want to update my number to this. That redeemer has to match the lucky number that's actually appearing in your redeemer, or sorry, in your new datum, which is constructed on line 73 to 76.
Okay.
Now, by the way, just as people are, we're learning Haskell and Plutus at the same time, line 75 says the completed modules in this new datum should be the same as the completed modules in the incoming datum. Okay, so whatever datum used to be there in the UTXO that you're unlocking to create a new one, the completed modules list has to be exactly the same. Input and output.
Okay. That might be okay.
Okay.
So now I want to sort of match this up with what I'm sending it.
Yes.
So like, can we do that? Like I can bounce back over here now?
Yep. Let's look at the datum you built already.
So
the datum.
So wait, where is that in this contract? So this is where that validator.hs lives. And we're going there to do it. Where does that, how do I reference that validator.hs file? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you do it. Okay, this takes us to the original question about what is a reference script or a reference UTXO. Okay. And that's what you see on the line that says spending TXIN reference and a UTXO hash is provided.
Hold on, I can get you the line numbers here.
Line numbers, yeah. Line 243.
Spending transaction in reference. And this, where is that?
This
is hard coded. We didn't come up with this.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So before this lesson was published, a the code we were just looking at, the validation code we were just looking at, was compiled to a Plutus script.
Okay.
And then it was posted on chain in a UTXO.
And at this UTXO. Okay.
Right. Okay. So now whenever we want that validation logic we were just looking at, all we have to do is specify the UTXO. And this
Okay.
is that's a mind-blowingly beautiful.
That's the big, that's just pause for the cause on that. Okay. Okay.
A year
So
ago,
that's
we did
it?
not have this. Okay. Vassal hard fork added this among a few other things, but that was such a miracle of a big deal.
Okay. Just gonna
Okay.
let myself stew in that one for a
Yeah,
second. Okay.
we don't have to, we can go back for fun sometime and look at how we used to have to do things, because you can still do it the old way if you want to. But
I don't want to. I don't want
Yeah,
to. I don't.
moving
I got a great
forward,
enough beard already.
we can
Wide
all
enough
be
beard.
happy that we can look at a UTXO on chain that has the Plutus in it in question, and then we use it. And you know, in module 204, you will build your own reference script. So you'll learn how to do that. For now, we're just using
204. Okay.
204.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. That gets me closer to like what, like in my head, it's just like when you learning to play guitar, you're like, in my head, I just want to shred. I just want to, or I don't know, sing at the beach or whatever it is that you want to do. But this gets me to that. Okay. All right. So this references that. Now how do I get like the num? How do I get those parameters in there?
Well, what's interesting, things look good to me. So this might be a tiny bit of a mystery. So I see that you have the new datum.json, the update number.json files ready to go. I see that you have each of those all in the same directory. That's why you mentioned before, you have to be in the transactions directory. That's why, right? We just have to be in the same directory that has these files that we're referencing on lines 246 and 250.
Yeah, that number.
Or sorry, 248. Okay, but let's just look at those files for just a moment, because what I wish was true is that your lucky number was different in these two files, but that doesn't appear to be the case. You got an 8 there and an 8 there, so that should be good. Okay. So what's the problem? Go back to new. Oh, no. Damn, lucky number. Oh, excellent. And here it is. Oh, this is fun. Okay.
Oh, dang it. All right.
No. This is my fault. We need to update the documentation. This is fabulous. Okay. Look at the new.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yep.
It's gonna be, that's like a hint. And I think that it is, it's one of these references is not matching up, or like Cinder, like I remember going through it and like there was like Cinder without a underscore or something.
We may also find out that that's a problem, but just for a moment, can you go back to the validation code in your browser?
Yep.
So what we know is that we're getting this error message: new datum is not valid. Okay. And for that error message to fire, if you look at the end of line 91, this function, check updated datum, must have returned false. That's the only way we would get that error. So when does this return false? Well, it returns false in two cases. One, if new reference datum is not included. In other words, if it looks for datum on the outgoing UTXO and finds on line 80 nothing, it will return false.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good protection. That protects us against students who don't understand datum yet, accidentally putting datum on the contract address, putting UTXOs on the contract address without datum, right? So we're protected against that case, which is really nice.
Okay.
And then the other time it returns false is if the new datum doesn't equal the required datum, this will return false.
down here? Where does it do? Where does it? Because I'm expecting to see arrow to the false. Where does?
Yeah, good. So this is arrow to a Boolean value, and a Boolean value could either be true or false, just the
Right.
word, or it could be a statement that returns true or false, like does 1 equal 2? And so what we have after the arrow on line 81 is D equals required datum. In other words, true or false is D
Oh.
the same as the required datum.
I got you. Yep.
Right?
I got you.
Where's required datum coming from? It's coming from line 73. We just constructed it above. We said, okay, let the requirement be equal to this thing.
Okay. Oh. Huh. Is there something to do? Because it seems like there's a lucky number and the completed modules in here. Yeah.
Yes. What did those completed modules have to be?
This.
Exactly.
It's the same. The same
The
as.
same as
Right. Oh. Is this because we changed? Like I got out of sync. I think that's why. And then I came back and there's some completed modules that wasn't, okay.
And our course documentation does not account for this case where somebody already has some achievements and is going back through the documentation. We show you the empty brackets that we would expect the first time you see the assignment, but we have not sufficiently covered this case. And that's
which
not acceptable on our.
That special case. Mom always said I was a special case. Harsh is laughing right now because he's like, it's a special case.
Well, and in software, you hear the term edge case, and edge cases are the things that happen 1% of the time but cause 90% of the headaches. Okay. Were you that kid in school too?
Probably. Oh man. So okay, so not but this was great. I mean, this is, it might take me a few more times through it. I don't know, however many more times to but this definitely feels like some new vistas opening up with these validators, which is just another word for, in my mind, smart contract or code on chain that I can execute through transactions. Code on chain that I can execute through transactions. Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody, it's time to roll your eyes around. Sorry.
It's arbitrary logic that serves the same role as a signing key. Right? What are the rules by which I can unlock a UTXO at this address?
Validator. So that could be the quote if someone's otter is taking notes. But yeah, serves the same function as a signing key. It says, hey, you're coming into the bodega to get a bacon, egg, and cheese. You're coming into the bodega to get ice cream late at night. You're making a delivery. You're robbing the place, and then there's code that goes along with that.
You can only buy ice cream after 6 p.m.
Yeah,
we will not sell you ice cream any other time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, actually. That's probably really well. Actually, it should be before 6 p.m. actually, but you only buy ice cream in the 2 to 4 p.m. window, and then that's
really the best time for it.
Best time.
Yeah. Okay, so would you be okay with trying to close the loop if we construct this datum?
Yeah. Let's keep going. I feel like I'm definitely getting the benefit from live coding. The last week, I think we did my stuff too. So I hope that everyone else is getting benefit from this.
Yeah.
Harsha gives a thumbs up. Cool.
Yes, y'all speak up if you have other extension questions, whether it's a prerequisite or an extension from here. Yeah, I really hope this is helping.
Cool. Good.
Do you have a node running locally?
Yeah.
Can you query the reference contract address?
Okay. Let's pull up this. And
it would be contract address in your variables up above somewhere.
yeah. Contract transact in.
No. Here it is. Oh, go up a little higher. I know you had it on the screen a moment ago, like just above 231. Keep going.
This one?
Yep, it's that one. So where was contract address defined? We just have to find that. Oh, well, yeah, you've already got it. Right. You must have had that already. Yeah, so we'll just query that contract address.
This is the big one.
Exactly. So this is not the best way to do this, but it is a way to do it. And you can
Here's how
find,
this is that address. This is
oh,
on
perfect.
I got it already.
Okay.
So
And so we want, and this is yours. So
yeah,
go to the end of that line where we can see the actual datum. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Yeah, this list. Here's your list. Script data.
Yeah,
right?
look, there's my script data number. And then
Yep.
here's my list. These are our modules. Okay.
Right. We need to place these modules in
Oh, wait a minute. In the new datum file. So that they're the same. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
The brain is still going. I still have some fire in the machine. If I kick it, and your help, of course. It's great. So I'm just gonna copy this so that I can look at it. Maybe that. We'll see. So get this whole thing. Okay, yeah, and then I'm gonna bring it over back into my code editor. And just
drop it into the new datum file, not the Redeemer file.
Okay.
Because then we can look at these side by side.
Like in here?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna just for kicks, I'm gonna
Perfect. So notice the map of lines 1 to 4 to line 7. Right? You see script data constructor 0 matches script data constructor 0.
Oh yeah, okay. And then there are okay, so
yeah,
fields. Okay, this is that
list.
Yeah.
The whole thing, right?
Right?
So everything in the yellow square brackets is your fields in this case. And there's 2 of them. The script data number.
So I might put this.
Yes.
I might put this here. That's what I would do. Is that gonna work?
No. And the only reason is, right, but look at it, right? And you could test this, but just for time's sake, right? Look at how each of these things is translated a little bit. It's formatted differently in each spot, okay? So for example, script data number 5 doesn't have curly brackets around it on line 7, and it doesn't specify int, right? Script data bytes, that list, we never have to specify the word list with a colon. We just add the purple square brackets, right?
Okay.
Now, what's cool is that actually, if you do this same query again down on your command line.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Okay. Same query again.
Press up to run the same query, but don't press enter yet, and type space -- out - file. And then just give it some arbitrary name like ref.json.
Okay, so this is going to spit it out onto a file.
Right. You'll see it when you press enter, nothing will appear on the screen. But you now have a file in the transactions folder, which I think is the one you're already in. and we
Yeah.
can open it up and look at it. Okay. And you actually, this is a giant file, but you already know your transaction hash. So we can just search this file for your transaction hash.
Okay. Okay. I would go back over into this and grab it
Or
from
or that's fine too. Yeah, exactly.
but I think I just lied, just clicked somewhere crazy.
You've got it in your notes though.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh,
231.
it's this guy right here.
That's the token. We could just search the file for the token as well. That would work.
Yeah. And then we'll I just exit. If I
You can press Control F. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Now notice there's 126 results here because the beginning of every token name is the same.
right. Yeah. Okay.
Or just grab your entire token name and there should be only yours from your notes.
Yeah, but this is it. Well, maybe not. Maybe I didn't get enough of it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
All right, that's the one. Now this is the value in an object that ends on line 331. See?
So it goes from
It goes down to 331. The value is there. You can see there is an inline datum hash. There is no reference script in this particular UTXO, which is not surprising, right?
and this inline datum hash, just because I don't know, this might be being silly. But that's like that's this thing right here.
It's not actually, this is the hex encoding of your token name.
Okay.
It's not actually a hex string. It's actually it's a hash. And the difference is when you're encoding something, you're taking each character and there's a one-to-one mapping from a character to a different representation, right?
Okay.
And so when you are encoding something, the length of the encoding string depends on the length of the input. The longer the input, the longer the encoding.
Okay.
We'll save the rest of that for later.
Save that one.
All right.
Okay.
But in any case, scroll up here and you'll see a much friendlier sort of version of the datum in question. In fact, starting on line 299, this datum is formatted exactly like it's supposed to be in your new datum file.
Oh, okay, I got it. So we know from the validator script that it needs to match this. This doesn't match.
Yeah.
This which is on the UTXO doesn't match the formatting.
It's a briefer representation. Yeah.
Okay.
So copy line 299 to what was it? The end of that datum. 322.
Yeah.
And bring that into the new datum.json file. We'll compare it to what's already there.
Okay, constructor. So maybe take that off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Constructor is still 0.
And then basically I could delete this, change that, and bang, bang, boom, Bob's your uncle.
That's it, right? And
Okay.
so do you see now how byte strings are represented in datum, right? So this list has objects inside. For each one we say, okay, this is bytes. And then each of these byte strings is the encoding of the module name. That says module 100, module 101.
Yeah, so yeah. And I could put that into that hex converter and that sort of stuff. Okay, good. So with this one, this is different. I mean, we could go over like what that is, but I just know that I can, like, this doesn't have to match. It just does an update, or maybe from this constructor. This is like, hey, I'm coming in to change the number. I'm coming in to buy some ice cream.
Exactly. So the number is the number. That 8 has to match the number in your new datum.
Yeah.
Right. But
So we'll do
just
that
to close the loop, yeah, we can change that to an 8. But can you go back to the source code that you had in your browser in GitLab?
Yep.
Just to close the loop on this, in the same directory as this, if you go up one page.
Same directory as this.
Yeah,
Okay.
If you scroll to the top, there's like a path, Gimbal Labs PBL 20. Yeah, you got it. Contrib token. And then let's go to types instead. And scroll down to where you find the contributor reference action.
Contributor reference datum, contributor reference action.
Okay, and look at these 3 choices. These are the 3 that we just saw in the validator. Update modules, update number, or remove contributor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then on line 54, each of these is assigned a numeric value. It doesn't have to be these 3 numbers.
Oh, right here.
There they are.
That's the one I'm doing. That is
Exactly.
that is this.
Bingo.
Okay. Woo! Okay, so
right?
yeah, okay, I got it.
Let's try it. I think this should work.
Okay. Wow.
And we just have an extra comma somewhere. That's
New datum update.
I'm guessing it's the last item in the list or the last item in the field.
There it is.
There it is.
Yep. Because it was taken out of a thing. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Ah, it did it. It did.
Nice.
All right. That's
one,
cool.
One more note, just because we've been talking about reference UTXOs and reference scripts today. You see that estimated transaction fee right there? It's 0.36 ADA, which is only about double what the least expensive transaction costs. So not too bad overall, right? Before we had reference scripts and you had to attach the Plutus script every time, this transaction fee would have been about 1 whole ADA. Okay,
wow.
So the reference script saved us almost 2/3 of the transaction cost from what it used to be.
Nice.
All right, cool. Congrats.
So awesome.
And you'll sign and submit that, and then in a few moments we'll be able to see it on the front page.
Of course. Yeah. Trying to get my address. Okay, so we get that one. Oh, let's go to this one and this one down here, and this. Copy, bank over, back down. This. There we go. That's fun, man. That's fun.
Thanks for the leadership. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Who's got questions about anything we just saw?
So are these, so where I've got this validator, or do I have this validator locally? Where is it? Do I have this? I've got the starter here. It's in my
You might. I don't think we've told you to pull it down yet. We had you pull down the PPBL Plutus template.
Yeah.
But anybody is free to grab the starter as well. It's open, just like the ones we've
Yeah.
been using.
Everything else. Yeah.
So feel free to grab that. We will reference it more closely as we start digging into changing the datum we were just looking at. When a sufficient number of people are ready, we're going to ask the question, hey, should the datum have our lucky number and just a list of module titles, or is there something more impactful we could put there?
Right.
Okay. And we're going to get to redesign that together. And there's some technical implications that will follow that. But we're getting there. No hurry to get to that point. We'll know when we're ready.
Yeah. Man, I want ice cream.
It's not 2:00 yet.
It's not 2:00. Oh, man.
Faizan, do you want to spend just a couple minutes looking at how far you've gotten on assignment 204?
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah, I would love that actually, because we did this before, and I think it was with Faizan, and I did not have the framework for it. I mean, it was just a cloud, and I stuck with it. I know. I mean, and maybe some people are listening in on the call or in the future on YouTube. Like, there's a fogginess, and Faizan, I'm just vamping while you get ready. There's a fogginess to all of this, and I think that the gray beard or white beard, thank you, Dan. I think it helps me. I think it helps me. It's like a magical, thing to be like, oh no, it's totally cool for you to misunderstand this or not be with it, but just enjoy, looking at people talking on the screen or whatever, and just to stick with it. Whereas I think without the gray beard, and I'm just saying, me as a younger person, would be, this I totally check out, I guess. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, stick with it. Don't blow yourself up by hanging on and having to understand everything all at the same time. Just something to report.
It's called having a light bulb moment when it all just falls into place.
Yeah.
Pour lots of stuff into your head and it all gets mixed round and round and round, and you wake up one morning and suddenly it makes sense.
Yeah, that's how it works, isn't it?
And if you want an ice cream, come to the UK because it's 4:30 now.
Oh, time zones, player. Coding time zones is so much a pain in the ass.
It's getting me thinking. We're learning a programming language that's brand new. The documentation barely exists, right?
Yeah.
And these concepts of datum and redeemer, we just have to keep reminding ourselves to be gentle with ourselves, right? Like, and it's so hard. But I've never learned anything that was brand new. Everything I learned K-12 was established knowledge, in many cases centuries old knowledge, right? And so I never had the experience of like watching a teacher be like, I don't know what the hell this is either. Let's try to figure it out together, right? So everything we're giving you right here, this is 18-month-old knowledge at the oldest, and we're still figuring things out. And we're about to start learning how to use Hydra heads together, which nobody has any clue what they're doing. So come on, get ready. But just always remember, let's be gentle, first of all with ourselves, because it's a heavy lift. Faizan, what you got for us?
So I will share my screen.
Nice. Here we go.
Yeah. So I am on
Hey,
module.
Faizan. Oh, there we go. We got it.
Yeah. So I'm module 204.4, testing and unlocking the TX. Yeah. Just So I'm facing issue here. Means which value should I put here? Because I've tried many values putting here, but it's not working.
Excellent. Okay. This is this is so cool that we're working on both of these different examples and we keep circling around the concept again of reference UTXOs. Okay. And just to situate everybody here, what Newman just showed us is that it's possible to take your notes in a text or markdown file and copy and paste commands into the terminal. This example is different because we're providing a working shell script or bash script for you. Okay. And so where it says enter path to CLI wallet directory, enter path to Plutus script, those are just prompts in this shell script called test unlock tokens at faucet address. And that's provided in the repo. So you can, anybody can look at that when the time comes. Now, this is assuming that you have already deployed your smart contract on chain as a reference UTXO. I believe that's the previous step in the project. Can you go back to the course documentation, Faizan?
Yeah.
And so step 2, sorry. Step 2 says deploy a reference script. Do you know if you were successful on this step?
Yeah, I am successful on this step.
Okay. And then the UTXO you're looking for would have been the output of this transaction that you built.
Yeah, I've also saved this by running this command. I've saved the UTXOs in reference.json.
Okay. And what address did you use for the reference address?
Means the wallet address. Are they talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the wallet address I've used. The
Okay.
CLI
So
wallet.
you deployed to the same wallet. Great. And you've got I saw the ref.json file open on your screen a few minutes ago.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Can you open that one nice and wide for us? And if we look through this, we should find that one of these has a reference script. Most of them say reference script null, like on line 73 or 83. But is there one that actually has the reference script in question?
No, they have just said that we have to save the UTXOs and TX in the reference ID using
Right,
the
so we can
JSON.
look through them. So yeah, scroll to the top of this file. I think I see something up at the top.
On the top.
Yeah, to the top of ref.json. Yeah, look, this UTXO has a reference script. It doesn't say reference script null on line 7.
This one.
Yeah, and look at what it has. Lo and behold, on chain, these are the contents of a .plutus file.
Okay.
Okay.
So means
And
this, yeah.
So you're being prompted to enter the Plutus reference UTXO. It would be the hash and index on line 2.
This one.
Mm-hmm. And you can press shift insert.
Yeah. Again, it got failed.
I think that's because when you chose the fees and collateral UTXO, it had additional tokens in it. And so it messed up our validator. Try one more time, but make sure to pick an otherwise empty UTXO.
Okay, cool.
So in last code, I've used the second one.
Oh, you did try, yeah, try pressing number 2 then.
No, I've used the second one in the last one.
You
So I
did?
think, yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that wasn't the error.
Should we go with the sixth one?
Sure.
Means is this we have to give the token unlocking, which is equal to the token we have locked. Is it right like that? Or we can just give the
Yeah.
less number also.
Good. Okay, I see what's happening. Okay, so the way this contract works is in the datum, you see where it says script data number 3033 down near the bottom of your page,
Yeah.
script data number. That's, and we can look, just like we were doing earlier, we could look at the validation code for this too, and I think we should if there's time. But for now, just notice that this number stores on chain the number of tokens that you're allowed to, actually, this looks,
I think this is the lucky number. I've changed this
that looks
lucky
like a
number.
lucky number. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I see what's happening. Let's go look at the validation code for this one. Do you have it locally in the PPBL? Yeah, you've got it open already. Let's look at that validator first.
Okay, here we go.
And first of all, just notice that on line 29, or sorry, 30, one of the inputs is called faucet datum. All right. Yeah. What does faucet datum look like? Well, it's defined in the types file. So let's open up types.hs as well. And how is faucet datum defined? On lines 26 through 29.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit similar to the contributor reference datum, because on line 27, the first thing we have is an integer. Yes. But instead of having a list of mastered modules on line 28, we have a faucet token name. Okay, and this is not a list anymore, but it's the name of your faucet token that you're giving away. Okay, so actually, in order for this thing to work, I think you're gonna see that it's the case that the UTXO you locked at the contract address is not going to be unlockable, okay, because it doesn't have sufficient data. But go back to the validator for a second. I forget if we left ourselves a backdoor. It's good in development to leave yourself a backdoor as long as you remember to get rid of it by the time you deploy to mainnet, which is, so you're playing with fire. But let's see what we left ourselves here. What are the redeemer options in this validator? There's only one. I don't think we do have a backdoor here. All right. We just have one main validation. Keep scrolling up a little bit. Yeah. All right. Yeah, here, notice that this is not organized into a variety of redeemers, because it's just a really simple, sorry, and I'm using the word simple to mean like not feature rich. I don't mean to say it's easy. I'm trying to say there's not a lot of features implemented here. Okay. And so you'll see that we don't organize this validator into cases. As a matter of fact, can you open up types one more time just to see what faucet redeemer is? Let's see. Faucet redeemer is a type. So this is a case where the redeemer is not being used as a statement of intention or an action. It's being used as another little bit of data. In this case, it's the person who is withdrawing from the faucet, identifying themselves with a pub key hash on line 39, And you could, I guess line 40 could be a statement of intent. What do you want to withdraw from this faucet? Oh, this is the token I'm trying to withdraw from this faucet. There's some other implications to that we'll get to later. So yeah, so this is what you want the redeemer to look like. We don't have a backdoor, but we don't have to worry about it. This contract is actually built to assume that you might eventually place different UTXOs at your faucet contract. And that's an idea, once again, we're going to get back to that in greater depth later. But I would say you've got the reference script on chain. So step 2 is successful, but you should probably redo step 3 again and make sure you create datum that follows what you see on line 26.
Yeah. And we have also mentioned this code in this specific. Suppose this is faucet redeemer, then we have put the values here.
That looks
the
good.
byte value and the token. Yeah.
Yep, that looks good. So your redeemer is good to go, but the faucet that you post on chain in the locking transaction has to match the faucet datum.
So I think I have to go again with this module. Add a token to a faucet. Is it third one?
Yeah, it'll be step 3. Yep. And it looks like you did everything, but you just have to change the datum, right? So it appears that your transaction worked because there is a nice UTXO stored at your faucet contract address. It just needs to have accurate datum.
Yeah.
Questions about that? And is this documentation
So
right?
should we go with it?
Oh, sorry, you were breaking up there. Can you try again, Faizan? Shoot, we lost him.
Is he gone? Be right back.
We'll get him. Yeah, good research on the exclamation point. I actually have questions about when exactly it's required.
Internet connection.
Oh, darn it. Okay. I think we just caught the buffer and then we lost him.
Yeah.
This note is correct. What confuses me about the exclamation point in Plutus is that it's not strictly necessary all the time. Mix, do you have any insight on that?
Sorry, James. Would you please repeat that? I just heard my name, but I wasn't listening. Actually, I'm sorry. I was responding to someone else in the chat in Discord. Sorry.
Felt like that was likely. No, it's all good. Exclamation point on the front of a type in Haskell. Why does it seem like it's optional in Plutus?
Well, it is not optional, kind of. When you are defining a contract parameter, you need to do that. And there is another use case for that inside a contract before a function. When you are going to define a function, you can put that sign as well. But what does it mean? It means that you will force the compiler to put that function or variable or type inside the Plutus. Because sometimes based on the optimization, based on something that we don't know, which happened in Plutus IR, Plutus core, some types or some function might kind of disappear, or they might get like the logic will jump off from that function. But once you put that as that sign, you will tell to the compiler that you have to put this function and you have to go through this function or this type. So it's like hard coding a function or a type inside Plutus core. But you don't need that for types that are kind of variable, such as redeemer types and datums. And if you, for example, if you try to remove it and try to compile that, you will get some error. And that error said that you have to put that variable inside the contract. But let me explain it again. So let's imagine you do not put this sign before those type about the contract parameters. At the beginning, once you want to kind of compile it like normal compilation, not that going through getting Plutus core, you might get warning, and the Plutus or the Haskell warning would say that, hey, you have this contract parameter, but you didn't give a value to them. It's fine. It's just a warning. But once you are going to compile it, you get an error, because you have to provide value for those contract parameter variables. But we don't want to go through this. We don't want to introduce bugs. Therefore, we will put those sign. So we will kind of remind ourselves and remind the compiler that we have to provide this, and you have to go through. So it's kind of strict, like it's like hard coding something inside it. I've seen sometimes about some function, especially handling inputs and output, like for serialization, deserialization. But you can put it and you might see something different. If you see a difference, especially regards a function, then you can be sure that there is something happening. And if you see a difference, I really recommend to keep that sign before the functions.
Well, we need to make a few examples that make it that can illustrate this, but thanks.
Sure, but I can give you, I think I can give you a link to a repository. There was, I don't know what happened to these guys, but there was a swap DEX called Basho swap. And they didn't launch for some reason. And I was going through their code. And I'm going to paste a link to one of their contracts. You can see that inside their contracts, they didn't mention many things about like they didn't write function signatures, but there are some example of those things that we discussed. But if I found it, I'm going to post it. Just give me a minute to find it. Sorry.
No, thanks. No, and I have to close out for now. But Faizan, how do you feel about taking the next step, and then we can check in on that first thing in tomorrow's session?
Yeah, I will go through it and have a look at it, the module.
Awesome.
And I can try to get pass on through it.
Cool. Thanks for being a pioneer of the Faucet project. Excited to hear what happens next.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to paste that link inside Plutus chat inside.
Cool.
But I'm sorry, the name was Bisho swap, not Basho. But I'm going to paste that. I found the repo, but I need to look to Bisho. Yeah. And if you want to create some swap, this is a good place to start to look to the code. Actually, it's a nice code. They wrote they have wrote some of the functionality, like about the minting contracts with Plutarch. That's a good example again for learning.
Cool. All right. As always, we're not going to get bored. We know that. The moment we all understand smart contracts, we can start optimizing them together and continue to build. So
I think you guys heard that Marlow is kind of on mainnet as well, so we have a lot of fun. And at least in my opinion, if we do not want to program with Marlow, at least learning about the logic and how to orchestrate several logics within several contracts, that framework is really helpful to learn about that.
The updated Hydra docs are awesome.
Yeah.
We are going to have so much fun creating some proofs of concept on that. And everything that's happening with contributor reference datum, the Faucet project leads us to playing around with Hydra. So more on that to come too. Can't wait. Always, guys, thanks for the time today. Think about what you want to be the driver for. Would love to see demos from everybody over the next few months. But until tomorrow, take care, y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye-bye.